The center of Hurricane Florence, about 96 miles east-northeast of Myrtle Beach. It's drifting west, but remember, going to start drifting sort of towards the southwest as we head through the day on Friday, and that's when it's going to come over most of Horry County.
Very, very close now to Broadway at the beach. It's moving very, very quickly. It's likely touching down briefly, but we do now have a tornado live on the air from our Skycam moving through the city of Myrtle Beach. All right, there it is. Again, very well-defined tornado. This is a live picture now of Myrtle Beach.
It's going to start rocking and rolling in just a bit. Heading towards 4 o'clock, we're going to start coming into the rest of the north end of the Grand Strand, up by the Tanger Outlets, Grand Dunes, and by the hospital. And as we head towards 5:30 or so, likely going to see that uptick, especially as we head towards Loris. Still looking at around 6 o'clock or so before that core likely comes into parts of Myrtle Beach, crossing through Carolina Forest and Conway. And again, morning, and yes, winter back with a vengeance out there right now. This is a live look over downtown Florence. We saw the rain mixing with sleet and snow and then changing over to snow. And that's happening across a good portion of the PD this morning. Let's jump into First Alert Doppler radar, show you what we're dealing with. And yes, there's a lot of moisture out there, and we have seen the temperatures coming down to the mid to upper 30s.
Jamie, what's happening right now across our area?
We're still just in the middle of it, just slowly continuing to deal here with Hurricane Florence. Still a hurricane. Myrtle Beach right now, winds westerly, sustained at 36 miles per hour, gusting at 48 for Matthew in 2016, 17.9. That was the new record crest along the Waccamaw River there in Conway. Looks like we may try to make a run to 18.5 feet.
Wow.
Hard to believe we would potentially be breaking just a 2-year-old record, what would be 3 floods in 4 years here in this area, but we may do it. We also have the Lumber River. I think we have the Lumber River graphic. Let's pull this up in a double box, and you can see there, notice that spike. It literally goes straight up. This is what potentially 20 to 25, locally 30 inches of rain can do. The forecast crest there by 8 o'clock on September 16th, 24.1 feet. At 24 feet, water covers Interstate 95.
Wow.
All right, Marissa Sansino, thank you very much there from Robeson County. Checking in on some information from Wilmington. Wilmington right now, get this, experiencing its highest winds since Hurricane Donna in 19. Let's show you that approach starting off here this evening, well offshore. We're going to run this through late tomorrow morning. By the time we get towards late morning tomorrow, it will be off the North Carolina coast, but notice the wind and the rain still well away from our area through most of the day tomorrow. Now, as we work our way towards Thursday evening, especially past sunset, that's when it really starts to bear down on the coast of North Carolina. But even then, while it is cloudy, while we may see a couple of outer bands, it's a little bit on the gusty side. It's nothing too out of the ordinary. That starts to change, though, as we head from Thursday evening into very early on Friday morning. That is when the storm makes its closest approach to the North Carolina coastline. It could even bump on shore. But then as we head from Friday morning into Friday afternoon, notice it just kind of sits here and even wobbles its way back towards the south a little bit. So this is late Friday evening. We're well within rounds of heavy rain. We're getting tropical storm force wind gusts. And then as we head from Friday evening into Friday night and into Saturday morning, notice the system very near the coast. And that's what Robert and I were talking about. Once we see the center near or just offshore, that's when we start to develop the strong onshore winds. And that's when we see the surge beginning to develop. But this is all the way into Saturday afternoon. With that track kind of taking it just to our south, we're still in extremely heavy rain and extremely strong winds, perhaps gusting as high as hurricane force near the beaches during the day Saturday. So our peak wind gusts likely come Friday night into Saturday, focusing at 70 to 90 miles per hour across the Grand Strand. The 100 mile per hour gust at this point we think stay just off to our north and just offshore out over the Atlantic. Still, though, this is plenty enough to do some damage and causes some fairly widespread power outages. Even inland, though, we're likely looking at 40 to 50 to 60 mile per hour peak wind gusts, especially as we head towards late Friday, Friday night into the day on Saturday. And as I showed you at the top